Hello. In this video, we're going to be talking about the large impacts or potentially large impacts that we are going to be getting with the iOS 26 update. So the reason why this is one of the biggest things in the space that people are talking about right now is because it's going to impact how we view our in-platform metrics. Now, if you don't know what iOS is, it's essentially an update on the iPhone that will geared more towards user privacy and take away the vision that a lot of marketers or other third parties essentially can see. Now, there are some workarounds and there are ways around it. I'm actually reading an article right now on Blotout, who's a company that I work with that does server-side tracking, and so they're very much in the weeds of it when it comes to this. I would say that, like I said, they are super engineer heavy. So when it comes to their overall stack, that's obviously their goal is to provide, the most information as possible. So this is an article that they posted about it. Now, iOS 26 is going to be supposedly coming out within the next day of recording this, which I'm recording at the 15th. They were going to push it out in October. They moved it back to September 15th, and then they pushed it up again. So it's kind of up in the air as to when exactly it's going to launch, but it should be within this next, essentially day or couple of weeks kind of thing. And so what this means, if we go down here, it said what IDs are impacted today. And this is as of September 4th, 2025. So these are obviously all these tools: HubSpot, DoubleClick, Google Ads, and Facebook Ads. So this is kind of where we are mainly looking at, because obviously I manage both of these. So this is what I'm mostly concerned about. And so if we see that G-clids are getting stripped and F-clids are getting stripped, then the quality of data is going to go down. Now, there are G braids and W braids that are already being used through the filter of Apple right now. And that's been going on for the past year at least. And I've been seeing some accounts that only have those IDs in them. But the larger issue is that a lot of these tools don't necessarily have the ability to capture those, and they only capture G-clids. And so if you're running some sort of platform that is only geared towards G-clids, then you're going to run into some issues with this new update. You might see your overall conversions just drop off if you're doing imports. The same exact thing when it comes to Facebook. Now, the good news is that this is only for iOS users. So if you don't have a lot of iOS users, this is not really going to impact you that much. The thing that I'm trying to do right now, that I've already done, but I'm trying to do more, is sort of warn my clients to say, hey, numbers are going to get a little bit weird. If you don't have a solution to this problem, we expect to see a drop off in overall conversions inside of Google and inside of Facebook. Now, the biggest issue with the drop off is obviously people are going to freak out and they're going to say, oh my God, my ROAS is dropping, what's going on? As you guys know, we always focus on P&L and backend numbers. So instead of having a benchmark, let's say of a 1x in platform that's driving a 3x for the business, I now have a benchmark of 0.7x in the platform that's driving a 3x for the business. And so the biggest benefit of doing that and measuring the way we do is that we can help bypass some of these problems, but that doesn't do the entire thing. So what do I mean by that? So even though we see less data in platform and we can still correlate those changes in benchmark a 0.7x to a 3x return, let's say, I'm just making up numbers, is when it comes to the data that the algorithm can see, quality is the most important thing, right? So if you guys don't already know, we have another video on our other channel, CProGrowth, where we talk about the overall impacts on view and view through content, not having F-clids, and just having essentially people that are not necessarily converting or the algorithm doesn't know. But long story short, the algorithms are trying to match data without the data. So in other words, they're trying to guess, they're essentially guessing, oh, this person saw an ad, we saw a conversion within that date range, we probably think that the ad drove that conversion, but it has no link towards the actual conversion, right? So like view through conversions. And so when G-clids are getting stripped, when F-clids are getting stripped, there's going to be a lot more guessing in the platform, which is going to lead to a lot more or a lot lower quality audiences starting to be pumped in, and the overall efficiency of your business could fail because of this. And so for reference, inside of Meta, if we're not using CAPI imports, if we're not using a third-party tool, and we're only using just a baseline tag that's like a Shopify app or a GTM app, we would use specifically only 7-day click. We wouldn't do 7-day click and 1-day view. If you guys have seen my other video on this, I kind of do a walkthrough on that earlier. This is about maybe a month or two ago. And I kind of give you a walkthrough as to what I do whenever I'm doing a build inside of Meta Ads with the new Andromeda update. So Anyways, with this being said, now this is going to get depreciated more and more according to what they were talking about inside of, well, the grapevine when it comes to blot out. And so what that means is that, today the degradation might not be that bad, but then let's say 8 months from now, instead of it being, I don't know, throwing out numbers, 30%, degradation, it now jumps to 80% degradation. So this is going to be a trim off over a longer period of time. And so this is why it's extremely important to have benchmarks in line and not looking just at in-platform. If you are looking at benchmarks, you're going to save so many clients from turning off campaigns that are impacting their business in a positive way, but don't show a good ROAS. And so all these people that are looking at ROAS are going to essentially lose their clients because they're not necessarily going to know, oh my God, iOS 26 did this. Why are we not having this data anymore? So get ahead of it, look and see what you can do, talk to your third-party providers if you're using any sort of like call tracking metrics or HubSpot to see what they're doing to solve this problem. And if you don't, then I would reach out to Blotout or some other third-party company to talk to them to see if they can help you solve this problem and not run into the issue of losing all this data. I would say that when it comes to clean data, it's better to have less clean data than it is to have a lot of unclean data or not accurate data. So anyways, get ahead of it, and I will see you guys on the other side. Thanks.